Hi everyone. Welcome to Ask Me Anything, the Florist edition. I'm Ellen Frost. If you can, somebody just comment and let me know that you can hear me. I'm always paranoid that nobody can hear me. So let's get started. Hi. Oh, I guess you can hear me. Thank you. So I'm Ellen Frost. I'm the owner of Local Color Flowers. We're a floral design studio here in Baltimore, Maryland. And we have a busy day ahead of us, but I'm glad to take time to talk to you all. In addition to owning Local Color Flowers, I'm also an instructor with the Gardener's Workshop. I teach 2 classes, which if you're interested, you can go to the Gardener's Workshop website and check it out. I teach a class about selling to florists and a class about sourcing flowers locally. So I hope you will check both of those out. So for our Ask Me Anything today, I would ask that you put your questions in where the little question bubble is down at the bottom. That way I won't miss any because even though I have glasses on, I might miss you in the comments. So I'm ready for all of your questions. Ready, go. All right, I know you're slow. I know you're just getting on. Everybody's getting on. Hello. All right. So put your questions, please, in the question box. Okay, so good question. Somebody already put a question in, and let me say before we begin, I am a florist and I am not a flower farmer. So I can't answer any questions, unfortunately, about growing flowers. I mean, really detailed technical questions. Zone 3, I don't know. I can't answer that. But if you check back at an Ask Me Anything with Lisa, she will definitely be able to answer your questions. So if you have questions about florist stuff or relationships between farmers and florists or any other fun relationship things between farmers and florists, I'm your person. Let's see. I've got some questions. Can you give me advice on making airy, natural looking bouquets? Thanks. Sure. First, practice. Practice is the best way to get comfortable with flowers. The second is depending on where you are. I mean, bouquet making is very hard. I mean, it takes years to really get awesome at it. And I would say, follow designers that you love. If there's online classes you can take, the Floral coach has an awesome class called Bouquet Boot Camp. I think she's the best out there. And you could take her online class. But just off the cuff, the best thing to do is to just keep your hand really loose as you're designing, and don't give your stems a death grip. Keep your hand nice and loose and a little lower down on the stems if you can. Don't grip them so tight that everything is squished into a little space. Really lower your hand, loosen it up, layer your flowers, and practice. Check out the Floral Coach. She has a great class, like I said, Bouquet Boot Camp. It's awesome. What do you use with dahlias to extend their vase life? We use flower food, but mostly we just tell our customers to change the water every single day and to give their stems a trim every 2 or 3 days. That's the best way to keep flowers fresh as like a home, as somebody who has flowers at home. That's the best way, I think. And every dahlia is going to have a different vase life. Like if you're using big, cafe au laits, they're going to have a different vase life than small ball dahlias. So depending on what you're using them for, we really only use big, showy dinner plates or cafe au laits for wedding work. We don't use them in our weekly orders or in our subscriptions because they don't have a very long vase life. So we sort of work to the strength of the flower, using the shorter lived ones for weddings and the longer lived ones for our customers during the week. Okay, here's a question. When you make corsages, do you use hot glue or floral glue? We use cold floral glue. I thought I had some right here next to me. We use cold floral glue. We don't use hot glue. And it works great. We've never had any problems with it. How do you get started? What's a couple good tips? Started as a florist? The thing with being a florist is that there are really no barriers to entry. You can just put a website up or get on Instagram and say you're a florist. My best advice in the beginning, if you are learning design, is to practice. Have your hands on flowers every single day. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And if you're just starting out in business, start talking to people about what you're doing, get the word out, have your friends and family spread the word for you, and just try it out. It's a really fun job. It's hard, it's stressful, but it is really rewarding and really fun. All right, other questions, comments? Oh yeah, somebody said they're having trouble finding cold floral glue recently. Yes, it's like impossible to find. It's because of the pandemic and because of supply chain issues, and we are hoarding our last few tubes. We had bought like 2 cases early on in the pandemic, and I figured by now they'd be available again, but they're not. And yeah, it's terrible. I don't know when they're going to be back either. I don't know. We honestly, I am avoiding that topic because I don't know what we're going to do when we're out. We really do only have a few tubes left. So if anybody has any hookups for cold floral glue, let me know. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Somebody said they loved Bouquet Boot Camp. Yes, check it out. Floral Coach. She's great. All right. Let me hear your questions. Tell me more questions. How do you store dried flowers? Well, we usually just keep them hanging up until we're ready to use them. If we do have to store them through the winter, we just wrap them in brown craft paper and box them up, and they are fine like that. We haven't had any problems with those. The thing is, mostly we just have them hanging, and then we use them and hang more and use them and hang more. Mostly we don't have to store them, but if you do store them, you want to have them somewhere dry. You don't want them to get moldy at all. So someplace cool and dry, and we just, like I said, wrap them in craft paper and put them in a box. All right, other questions? What do you got for me? Let's see. What brand of floral glue do you use? Yeah, guessing Oasis. Yes, Oasis is the brand that we use. And yes, it is impossible to get right now. Other questions? Oh, are you going to have more in-person classes this year? I don't know. This is a really... I don't know. It's a really emotional subject for me, if you really want to know. We stopped doing in-person classes because of COVID. We started up, we stopped, we started up, we stopped. And I'm just not sure if they're going to make it back this year. I'd love them to, but I'm just not sure. So keep watching. If you're local to the area and you're interested in classes, this isn't a class, but it's still some design practice time. We do offer something called Flower Happy Hour, and that is actually on Wednesdays from 3 to 7. And it's just open design time. We used to call it open studio. And so you can just come and make whatever you like, and there's designers available to help you if you want. We have lots of flowers available, so it's a good chance to get your hands on flowers that you might otherwise not have a chance to see. So check out Flower Happy Hour if that's something you might be interested in. All right, let's see. We've got some other questions. Fave ingredients for floral crowns this time of year. Okay, so German Status. We use a ton of German Status. It's like dried and white. Straw flower, Lisianthus, Celosia marigolds, rosemary, boxwood, gomphrena, status, other status like regular, I don't know if that's what it's called, regular status, and then all kinds of like bits and pieces like poppy pods or money plant. Yeah, those are some that we use. We have been doing a lot of crowns recently, so those are some of the things that we've been using. Oh, roses. All right. How much do you charge for happy hour? Okay, so the way the floral happy hour works, just in case you all want to do this at your farm or at your design studio, floral happy hour, we just have flowers out by the stem, and we probably have, I don't know, a lot, 30 different kinds of flowers, 35, 40, I don't know, a lot. We really try to have a lot of variety for people. And everything's available by the stem. You can bring your own vase. You can bring food, drinks, whatever you like, friends, dogs, babies. We have vases that you can buy, or you can bring your own, or you can just get flowers wrapped up in paper to go home with. And then you don't pay to come. There's no reservation or anything. It's just drop in. And you just pay for whatever stems you use. So stems are about, I don't know, $2 to $4 a stem, $2 to $5 a stem. So you can come and just make a bud vase with 3 stems in it, or you can come and make a giant thing, which we would love. So that's Flower Happy Hour. Let's see. Do you make your wreaths one at a time, or do you find it faster to do them assembly line style? It takes me so long to make wreaths. It takes us so long to make wreaths. We only make them for custom orders. That means somebody orders and we make it. If we have more than one, we will try to do some sort of assembly line, like somebody making the bunches. Actually, the other day we had somebody taking the flowers down off of the ceiling, somebody making the bunches, and then somebody attaching to the form. So that's one way to do it. Or last year we had a really big order for Thanksgiving, like, I don't know, 30 wreaths or something. And we did those sort of assembly lines. So somebody did sort of the base, like greens and status and lindera, and then somebody else did like bigger flowers, and then somebody else checked it for any holes and then added stuff in at the end. So I don't know any fast way to make dried wreaths. They're just a slow project. They're great, and for us they're good because they do bring in money with dried stuff, stuff that we've paid for already and that we need to sort of recoup the cash for. So they're great in that way, but they are, really slow. All right, let's see what other questions you have. What's your favorite flower you're working with right now? Well, just today, literally like 2 hours ago, we had a delivery from Monocacy Valley Co-op, and 2 really pretty things they sent. One was these new cosmos that we haven't seen, which are called apricota, and they're not the, I know there's one that's called like apricot lemonade or pink lemonade, something like that. It's not that one. It's new to us, Apricotta, and it's really pink with like sort of an iridescent orangey, yellowy color. It's really great. So that's really pretty. We also have like some dahlias that are really nice right now called Caramel Antique or Antique Caramel. I'm not sure which it is. But those are really nice. And we have a really pretty celosia. There's so much celosia right now, I can't even say how much celosia there is. It's like every color celosia. But we have one called Deli Pearl from Hill and Homestead that is really, really nice. So those are some of the things we're working with right now that we're really into. All right, let's see. More questions. What else you got for me? Do you prefer working through flower cooperatives or farmers individually? Well, that's a great question. We always love working with co-ops because the ordering process for us is easier. Usually it's like many farmers sending one availability list. So we love that. But the co-ops that we work with right now, one has group billing, which means you make one order and you get one bill and you pay one bill, which is great. And then the one that we order from the most, they have one order, but then they bill you, every farmer bills you individually. That's not as great because we just have more admin work to do and more invoices to deal with. So in that way, I wish they would bill together, but I know why they don't. I mean, they're like our good friends, and I understand that that's just not in the works right now. So, and it's also great because there's farmers in the co-op that we wouldn't be able to buy from otherwise. They wouldn't be able to deliver to us, and we wouldn't be able to pick up from them. So it is, it's good that way. So we love working with individual farmers. We love working with co-ops. Both are great. All the farmers are great. Okay, other questions? Any tips or tricks for corsage and boutonniere making? I don't know. I love making boutonnieres. I don't love making corsages. But here's what I would say. Boutonnieres. You want to make sure that you're using things that don't wilt. So don't use anything that's going to wilt out of water, or anything that has like a really easily breakable stem. If you have a breakable stem, you either have to wire it or tape it. And then what else? Lots of different elements. Like I am a big fan of using, a foliage, a grass, a pod, a focal flower, some backup flowers. It's like I picture them as like little bouquets. And yeah, love them. Corsages, wrist corsages, pinned corsages are just like boutonnieres. Wrist corsages are just like time consuming. And I always like I usually like how they look when we're done, because ours are just made on sort of metal cuffs and they look more like floral bracelets. So I like that. But I feel like it's a little bit of a puzzle when I'm making it, like a little bit like Tetris. Like you only have a very small amount of space and you have lots of elements that you want to get on there, and how they all fit together is a puzzle. And I don't know, maybe I don't like puzzles. I don't know. I always like how they look when we're done, but they're more time consuming and we charge more for them. So, again, same thing. Use things that don't wilt. Use things that are not going to fall apart. Those are my tips. All right, other questions. What else you got? Have you done patios or local business fronts containers in your off season? Trying to figure out how to charge for that. We haven't, like something like porch pots. There's a couple companies here in Baltimore that do that, so we have not done it. We have offered like porch pot elements during open studio or flower happy hour in the winter. So we'll have like tall winterberry and magnolia and red twig dogwood, and all of that's available by the stem, and we encourage people to bring their pots in and make their pots here, but we haven't really done that ourselves. If you check out Dahlia May Flower Farm, they're in Canada. She does, Melanie, she does tons of those. Like that's like one of her main businesses in the winter. And you might be able to check, and they're stunning. She makes really beautiful pots. I know, we call them porch pots. She makes really beautiful porch pots, and you might check her out to see what her pricing's like, and in terms of size and materials and things like that. What flower colors do you think will be hot next year? That is a great question. I have no idea. We're just starting to book weddings for next year. And so, they're looking pretty standard, pinks, whites, springy colors in the spring. That's about as far as we've gotten. In December, the Pantone color of the year will be out. And that is always sort of a telling color for the next season and seasons to come. Also, if you're not a member of the ASCFG, I would say check them out. That's the Association of Specialty Cut Flower Growers, because they send out a quarterly magazine, Cut Flower Quarterly, and I just got mine yesterday, and I can show it to you. Cut Flower Quarterly. They always have new varieties and new colors of things, and that always, I think, gives us some idea of what, new colors are going to be for the coming year. So if you're a grower and you're not a member of the ASCFG, I would highly recommend you join. And even if you're a designer, we've been a member of the ASCFG for almost 15 years. And the connections we've made and the knowledge that we've gotten from the ASCFG is just like no other. So I would definitely suggest you join that. Let's see, what other questions do you have? Let me check. Do you have a passive income stream that you feel is working well for you? Yeah. Being a instructor at the Gardener's Workshop has been great, and that has been sort of our first foray into passive income. And when I say passive income, it's like we still had to design the classes and make the classes. One of them is a standalone class that is the preparing to sell to florists class. So we made it, and it's on demand. So you can take it anytime. It's a great class. It's 2 hours. But after I made it, I don't really have to do anything else to it, at least right now. My big class, which registration opens in November and the class runs January and February, that's Growing Your Business with Local Flower Sourcing. It's, I think, a really good class. And again, that's mostly passive. We do weekly Q&As with the students. So for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I think, I do Q&As. So that's like a little bit of work, but mostly that is, I consider it mostly passive. And certainly as I get older and as sort of our lifestyle changes, I'm going to be looking for more ways to do passive income. And so in that realm, we just started a new blog. If you want to check it out, it's called Vicarious Florist. And it's sort of a behind the scenes look at what it's like to be a florist. And it's pretty fun. There's videos and articles and journal entries, and there are going to be some online classes offered through the Vicarious Florist. So some of that will add to passive income. But yes, passive income, I think, is really a huge thing to think about as flower farmers and floral designers who use local stuff, because our work is so seasonal that we may be, only really making money part of the year. And so finding ways to make money in the off season is really important. Okay, somebody asked about winter sowing. I don't know anything about flower farming, so I can't answer that. But Lisa will be able to answer that if you come back next time. Do you buy wildflowers, weeds that have long vase life, and add to your arrangements? Well, this is a good question. and I'm not sure what to say about it yet. So yes, sometimes. But we are also this year taking a deep dive into invasive flowers and invasive weeds. A lot of the growers around here do sell what you would call wildflowers, like actual wildflowers, like behind the Kmart flowers, and other vines and other plant material that they offer to florists, and lots of florists buy them. We have bought them. But we're trying to get a little more educated about invasives and about weeds and the role of designers in spreading those things. And so right now we've sort of taken a step back from buying that kind of stuff until we have a better understanding of, like I said, our role in spreading the seeds of that stuff around. So, yeah. More to come on that. If you follow the Vicarious Florist, there's definitely going to be a substantial article on invasives. We're working on that now. And there may be sort of a primer class for farmers and florists coming on invasives. So do check back to Vicarious Florist for that. All right, other questions. What do you got for me? Do you think Flower Happy Hour could work and would be possible as a pop-up? Yes, sure. We used to do it as a pop-up. The only issue we did it like sporadically and nobody knew when it was going to be. So it was like we'd do it once a month and then maybe we do it 2 weeks in a row. And it was mostly we just did it when we had extra stuff, which worked. But I think it works better on a regular schedule for us so people know when to come, when they know when to show up. So, but yes, you could definitely do it, market it as a pop-up, a one-time, flower bar, flower happy hour, open studio, anything like that. Yes, I absolutely think that can work. The only thing is make sure you are pricing your stems correctly so that you are making money on those. And, it's a little bit, for us, it's not as risky because whatever flowers we don't use, we'll just use for stuff the next day. We have uses for all of them. But if you're using flowers just for that thing and you've got nothing else to use them for, make sure you don't, have too much stuff that you might have waste if people don't come. Or if you wanted to do it, you could, have people register so you had a sense of how many people were coming. But yeah, for sure you could do it as a pop-up. All right, other questions. Do you use Smilax? How much do you pay a bag? We don't use Smilax. It's not grown locally around here, and we source all of our flowers locally. Everything we use come from farms within 100 miles of Baltimore, and so Smilax is not available here. So I can't tell you anything about it. We used it once because the bride's mother had it on her property and brought it here from North Carolina. And we did that as a favor to her and her mother because it was on the property. But yeah, otherwise we don't use it. I know it's very popular in floral design. Most installations are done with Smilax, but I don't have any experience buying it or knowing how much it costs. All right, other questions. We've got about 5 more minutes if anybody has any final questions. Just checking through. Oh, somebody said, I'm Canadian. Can I still join the ASCFG? Absolutely. I think right now Janice Harris from Harris Flower Farm is the Canadian rep for the ASCFG, and she is amazing. And she has an awesome farm, and she's a great grower, and she is a super knowledgeable farmer. And yes, if you're in Canada, you can still join the ASCFG, and there are tons of Canadian farmers in the ASCFG. Boreal Blooms, Prairie Girl Flowers, Meadow and Thicket. There's a ton of Canadians in the ASCFG, so definitely check it out. I think you will enjoy it. And yeah, it's great. So check it out. Let's see. Any other questions? Can you show us what the metal wrist cuff looks like? Is it wide? Jess, will you grab one of the, hold on, Jess is going to grab one. They're about an inch wide, and actually the way we make them is weird. It's on Oasis. Oasis has a soft wire. I think they call it flat wire, and it comes in a big roll, and there's silver, gold, and copper. And this is like a silver one. So it's just really, yeah, how long is it? It's about an inch wide.
Inch and a quarter. I do it bigger than this. I do about 6.5 inches.
And about 6.5 inches long. And it just comes on a big spool, and we cut them and we fold these edges back, and then you can just stick it on like this. So if anybody can see that. And we have silver, gold, and copper, and I would say that copper and gold are more popular than silver. Most people don't get silver. But this is a cheaper way. I know this might not look like much, but most of it's covered anyways. If you buy like the metal cuffs individually, they can be like up to $10 a piece. This is about less than $1 for this little piece of flat wire. So Oasis flat wire, check it out. All right, any other questions before we go? Just checking the comments. All right, everyone, thanks for joining. Again, if you want to find us, my name's Ellen Frost. I can be found on Instagram at Local Color Flowers and on Facebook at Local Color Flowers, and our website is locoflow.com. And you can also check out our new blog, which is awesome. Please check it out. It's new, and I obsessively check the viewings, and I obsessively check to see if anybody has signed up for our email list. So please do that. And if you do, I will be like really happy. VicariousFlorist.com. And I will be back in another couple weeks for an Ask Me Anything session again here on Gardener's Workshop. And if you have any questions that are burning, you can't wait till then, you can always send me a message, direct message me on Instagram at Local Color Flowers. All right, everyone. I hope you'll follow along as we continue this flower journey, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks. All right, thank you.